The first Pringles chips were nationally distributed in the United States in 1975, and then, exactly 20 years later, the U.S. held the first ever Summer X Games. In 2012, the Kellogg Company purchased Pringles for $2.7 billion. That same year, Ronnie Renner set a record of 47 inches in the Moto X Step-Up Games at X Games 18. Pringles chips have a unique U-shaped design that fans love. The X Games half-pipe has the very same unique U-shaped design that fans love. Lastly, the most decorated Summer X Games athlete in history, Bob Burnquist, bears a striking resemblance to none other than the mustachioed Julius Pringle. I present these facts without comment as we ask, "You tried that?" You Tried That, the snacking podcast. I'm Nick Novak with my pal Shad Hancock
Extreme!
and Nick Geiger.
Hang 10, brah.
So this is the X Games version. And,
Yeah! X
yeah,
Games! Woo!
Extreme.
Hang 10!
Wait, Novak, just before we get started, it's confirmed that the Pringles guy is named Julius Pringle?
yes, I did
That
research.
made my day. I love that guy.
It does
What's
seem
that?
to fit. Look at him. He looks like a Julius.
Oh, yeah. Very fancy. He's got a bow tie.
Well, we had talked before the episode about upcoming dates and how we could tie in things. And Geiger, you mentioned the X Games was coming up.
Yeah, I did.
And I sort of just ran with it. And a few texts went back and forth till Chad said, "Why the fuck are we doing X Games?"
Because snacks are extreme, man.
If I was gonna send that text now, I would say, why the fuck aren't we doing an X Games? X Games, brah!
None of us watch the X Games, know anybody who watches the X Games, or probably even know or do you?
I watch snowboarding during the Winter Olympics. That's as close as I get.
How many X Games athletes do you think you can name? Any?
Yes, I can name Tony Hawk and Chloe Kim she's a snowboarder, won a gold medal in the Olympics in the half pipe. And then, who's that fucking obnoxious dude that looks like Carrot Top, but...
Shaun White?
Yeah, Shaun White. So that's 3.
I thought when we talked about X Games, I'm like, oh, I got to look up some facts about X Game guys I know of. And I thought of the same 3 of like Shaun White, Tony Hawk. And then there's a guy named Dave Mira, who's a BMX biker, and I looked him up.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. I think he died in a horrific biking accident. So
I only know who Dave Mira is because there was a BMX game for PlayStation with his name on it.
Was it pretty extreme?
I don't know.
No.
I never played it.
Oh.
When was the last X Games Tony Hawk participated in?
Oh, gotta be 20 years ago, probably, right? Like, how old is he now?
Yeah. He's what, 60 years old or something?
That's like saying, who are the top NBA players? Oh, yeah, Magic Johnson.
The last time I talked about Tony Hawk was when Betsy thought he was on the Packers. So that's we were going to a Packer game. I challenged her to name 5 Packers, and she went Brett Favre. Oh, correct, because this is 8 years ago or so.
Sure.
Bart Starr. Nope. And then she goes,
It's 90.
she goes, Sterling Sharp. I go, no, because I had given her a Sterling Sharp jersey to wear. And then she goes, Tony Hawk. Because she had bought me an AJ Hawk jersey. I started dying laughing. I'm like, he's a skateboarder. He's totally extreme.
So I pull off a pretty extreme move here and see what you guys would have done in this situation. There's nothing extreme about this story. But so I went to a barbecue with people I know but aren't great friends with. So it was one of these stop by barbecues to be nice kind of a thing.
Yep.
And so I went in to get the food. We had to leave to go to a real friend's barbecue after that. But I went and got my food, and there were tables outside. So I went to sit outside at the table. I sat down, took a bite of my burger, and a couple minutes go by, and I realize everybody else is going to be sitting inside. So I'm out there, and there's a few kids eating at a table, just eating the burger alone. I'm the only adult out there. So at that point, I can make the decision, get up and go in and join the rest of the adults, or sit quietly and finish my burger.
Why did they go inside? Was the weather cold or something?
It was extremely humid.
Extreme.
So I think people wanted to be in the air conditioning.
Were you sick of being around these people?
I could take or leave it. So I mean, if I would have known no one was coming out, I probably would have not sat there. But well, first, tell me before I say what I decided to do. What would you do in this situation?
I would stay outside, and here's why. Because one of those, like, burgers from, like, a grill, like a barbecue like that, that's what, 5 bites, 6 bites tops? In the amount of time it took you to get up and walk inside, you could easily eat that entire burger and be done with it by the time you get in there. So you might as well just finish it and then leave.
Enjoyable.
Not only are you alone, but you're just mauling this burger as they stare at you.
I probably would have just stayed outside and just said, "Oh, whatever. I'm already sitting. I'll eat."
Yeah.
And I have plenty of time to chit chat with the folks after I'm done.
Yeah, I sat there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't move, and I knew it was one of those. It was a sliding door, and the light was such a way that I couldn't see in through the sliding door, but everybody could see out perfectly. I didn't know what their reaction was.
Did you go in after you finished your burger?
Yeah, and just like used throwing the food away excuse to get up and not just sit there staring forward.
How many bites did it take you to mouth that burger?
I mean, the burgers were... Here's the thing. I'm not usually picky about people serving me at their houses or anything, but they were the frozen boxed burgers.
Oh.
Inexcusable.
Were you just staring like into the patio door, just put a piece of mouth and just like shake your head and then spit out on the ground? Just knowing the cook was in there somewhere?
What, Geiger, you said you had something interesting happen.
Yeah, it has absolutely nothing to do with that or the X Games, but...
It better be as interesting as sitting alone at a barbecue.
So we have... So every summer at work, we have a bunch of interns come in, and they're usually like dipshit teenagers that don't have any idea what it's like to be professionals or anything like that, or like college kids, I guess. I don't know what they are. But
we bring in child labor.
They're probably not teenagers. They're probably like 19 or 20, but they're just morons. They come in, they're like loud as shit. They're walking around eating all the food in the kitchen. They're just...
You sound like such an old man. These fucking kids coming in, they're loud. They got their phones.
So my question is like...
They're watching X Games.
They're doing kick flips and ollies or whatever the fuck they're called.
Parkour right in the middle of the office.
So I go into the bathroom at like 4:30 in the afternoon, and I like take a piss, and I wash my hands, and I hear some guy come in behind me and stop like right in front of the door, and then I just hear rustling, and I look up in the mirror, and one of the interns has taken off his shirt and pants. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I turn, he's just standing there.
Maybe this was a kid. Was this kid like 4 years old and just learning how to pee?
He was like changing clothes into like workout clothes. But like, there's 3 empty stalls, right? I'm not wrong. You go in the stall, right?
I thought he went up to the urinal and like dropped his pants all the way to the ground and took his shirt off while he was pissing at the urinal, and you just looked up in the mirror and saw bare ass.
He looked up at me and said, "Could you help me hold it?" And I'm like, no, but I'm like, I kind of turned around and looked at him, and he goes, "Hey, what's up?" Like not bother him at all. And like, you could probably just use a stall for that. He goes, "Oh yeah, good point." And he's literally standing right in front of the door. So anyone who walks in is just going to be confronted with a half-naked intern. So I go, all right, well, take it easy. And I just took the door and I whipped it as wide open as I could and walked out. Like, what the fuck? Who does that?
He must have had an 8-foot dick, like, to have that kind of confidence.
Yeah, no, he opened the door with it as I left. He was like, sir.
You can't treat a bathroom like a locker room. You have to use a stall to change.
That's strange. I've changed in the bathroom there because I'm like getting stuff on to like go to softball or something. So I'm ready and I could just hop off the train. But like,
you work there. You're not some shit intern.
A, I have a real fucking job. B, I'm a fucking man there. So I hope no one hears this. C, I also have a giant wang, so I'm not afraid of anyone seeing it. And D, what the fuck is wrong with you? No one does that. It's just weird. It was just the weirdest thing to me. Wash my hands, look up, and just see a guy with no shirt and boxer shorts on.
I kind of had a similar incident, like this was maybe 6 or 7 years ago at work. At the bathroom there, they have like stalls, but they also have a small sort of like locker room area specifically for changing. And there's like a bench and then a curtain that you can close like while you're back there changing. So if the curtain is closed, that means somebody's back there changing. So you sort of like stand outside and wait your turn. So I'm back there, I'm changing to go for a run, and like some dude just comes in and just swings the curtain open, just walks in, closes the curtain, and then just starts undressing. And I'm like, what's like, what the fuck is the point of this? If like one, and you know, like why even have the curtain if we're just gonna come in and out multiple people at the same time? I really didn't get it. Fortunately, I was like mostly dressed, so I just like threw on my shirt real quick and just gave him a dirty look as I walked out.
How much space is in there?
4 feet by 4 feet or something like that.
That's clearly not a 2-person changing room.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's just a space. Were you nose to nose putting your shirt on? Novak, you're a gym goer. Do you often have to like just get buck naked in front of people?
Do I have to?
Well, I mean, do you generally end up doing it?
I go before work. It's usually filled with old men who just sit around naked having conversations about, you know, their finances or whatever. So it's about the X Games usually.
My nephew won't shut the fuck up about these X Games.
Back in the 1915 X Games,
you know what we
were
called
running
X Games?
away from dogs.
Riding a horse without getting robbed by a stagecoach. Or by bandits on the stage.
We used to ride a horse down a half pipe. And they would have the horse do tricks.
Horse just tumbling down a half pipe. Anyway, sorry. You were saying about you getting with old guys?
It's talking about me staring at these old guys. You know, they'll sit around, and I don't know. You'd stop thinking about it after you do it enough, but you do undress and then just go on your way. And some guys really are protective of. They like put their underwear on with the towel still around their waist.
Sure.
I'm not looking at your wang, pal. Like, I don't understand like what you're really protecting. But I guess I am because I noticed them doing that. So.
You're definitely looking at these old men's wangs.
I actually usually go, and as a morning I haven't put my contacts in yet, so like have my glasses on. And so I like put my glasses in and then we'll walk to the shower and everything's really blurry. And so I'm like really have to get up close and squint to see these guys' wangs. I'm like,
I thought there was an old pile of towels in the corner, but it was Larry from the gym.
Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't have my glasses. I'm trying to look at your dick. Gee.
Are you hard? I can barely see anything.
Do you ever look at the old men and wonder, like, which one has gravity affected their balls the most? So it's like, who's got the lowest hanging balls of all these old men?
I usually just ask them.
Tell them to line up and then measure.
You just say, what's your measurement? And by measurement, I mean distance from bottom of ball sack to floor.
Right.
Do you think we could petition the X Games to have locker room changing as their next sport?
I love the turn of the century X Games when we sending horses. I think all of them were sending horses down slopes and onto half pipe.
I like if you know that there's that event slope style in the Olympics where it's like you either ski or snowboard and it's like through an obstacle course kind of thing. Like they do tricks off of things and then they do jumps at the end. I'd like to see like that in the Summer Olympics, but with just a horse. So the horse is like doing tricks, like jumping and kicking its legs off of the obstacles, and then like doing huge jumps off these hills and shattering its bones as it lands.
You want to watch horses get shot in the head, essentially.
We have some pretty extreme snacks that we're going to be trying here in support of the X Games 2018. We're going to start with our pal Julius Pringle, since we spoke about him.
Now, I noticed that these are spicy queso, which I think was the exact same flavor of the Ruffles we tried. They were like queso also, as well.
We can make some comparisons.
What do you guys think of Pringles in general? I love them.
I never get Pringles because I find the package very inconvenient.
I rarely get Pringles. I just don't get it. I don't think they're as good as most chips. They're less salty. I don't like the crumbliness of them. They definitely crumble easier than your standard chip. I just don't usually get them. I'm not a fan of them. These have a real odd smell.
Yeah. You can kind of smell like the peppers or something. Like it's got a vegetable-y smell.
Julius Pringle, I mean, we commented on his appearance before, but he does look like the kind of man that would ride a horse down a half pipe.
Oh,
yes, for sure. These couldn't taste any further from the Ruffles ones.
Would you say they taste loud?
How does loud taste?
Little like bits of spice. Some bites I'll get nothing. Another bite I'll get like a little tiny tinge of spice like on my tongue.
These smell much spicier than they taste.
Based on the front, it contains jalapenos, red peppers of some sort, 2 kinds of cheese, it looks like.
And I barely tasted cheese at all.
I was just about to say that. I don't taste a single bite of cheese.
They also taste grainier, like they taste like, and maybe it's because of the Pringles Loud might be different or something. You know, like you mentioned, regular Pringles are real crumbly. These are harder for some reason to me. They're like stiffer.
They have the consistency of like a health chip, like
a baked lay or something.
Yeah.
But there are 140 calories for 14 of these, which I don't think is super healthy, right?
That's 5 per container, so if you ate this whole cylinder, it would be like 800 calories or something.
This whole full-size cylinder is not one serving, clearly. You eat that in one... Having said that, I finished it. No, yeah, this is an odd one.
Geiger, since you are talking about how odd they are, let's have you start us out with the rating. And we have a 5-point rating system that is love dat, like dat, indifferent to dat, dislike dat, and of course, hate dat.
I just noticed you say corn crisps. I wonder if all Pringles are corn or are they normally potato? I assumed they were potato, but it doesn't really matter. I like Pringles. I think I will agree the big can is a pain in the butt to like you can't just carry it with you to work. You look like an idiot with this giant like cylinder of chips. But
you're Mr. Chip.
Yeah, I mean I'm known as Mr. Chip, and I have a Julius Pringle style mustache, so it fits my theme. So I like the smaller cans. I'll use them as a snack at work sometime, but these are different. They promise to be spicy, but they're really not. They're not cheesy at all, even though they're supposed to be queso flavored. So I'm actually strangely like they're not bad. I don't mind them. I'll keep eating them, but I would actually put them as indifferent to that.
Whoa! A strong rating from Mr. Chip.
I wanted to like them. I love Pringles. I like chips. I'm just kind of down the middle of the road on this.
Man, indifferent. You call yourself Mr. Chip.
Am I no longer? I must like every chip on Earth.
You need to like every chip we eat.
All right, guys. This is pretty anticlimactic. It's a chip, right? Love it.
I think as Mr. Chip, basically just your opinion means more than everyone else's.
Okay.
So we can skip Chad Knives. So let's move. No, Chad, what do you think? Do you agree with Mr. Chip?
No.
Let's be clear. That is not my name.
Let's be clear. That is your fucking name. All right. Yeah, these things suck. I taste no cheese, and now that I'm sitting here, like, the spice is sort of like sitting on my lips and like making my lips uncomfortable or whatever. I think the only redeeming quality is that the Pringle guy looks funny, but that's not enough for me to save this. I'm going to go dislike that. This is a very strong dislike that.
All right. I, if you remember, had a love dat for the Ruffles spicy queso. So this couldn't be further from that. I think the smell is really off-putting too. I'm going to back right up with Chad here and give it dislike dat. So a rough start right out of the bat here.
I would have bet any money I liked this the best of all of them, and I do not. So this is well. I guess I still could, but
right because your name is not Mr. Oreo Handi-Snack. It's Mr. Chip.
No, it doesn't really roll off the tongue that way. Yeah.
Let's go to the Larabar next. I see these all the time and see people eat them. I've never had a Larabar. Have you guys had one?
Nope. 6 ingredients, it says.
Just look at the ingredients. It's dates, cashews, unsweetened blueberries, blueberry juice concentrate, lemon juice concentrate, and vanilla extract. So
yeah, it says it's gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, soy-free.
Definitely the type of thing an X Games competitor
oh yeah
be eating, I think, like right before a big run.
Stick a Larabar in your handlebar.
Whereas I'm going to eat this right before a big movie watch.
I'm going to eat this right before a big going to bed.
The consistency, says a lot for the shitty food that I eat. The consistency of it reminded me immediately of the Little Debbie brownies.
Yeah.
Ones that come with the 2 squares attached. But of course, this is blueberries and not chocolate.
It has those nuts, the cashews, which I can't even really taste, to be honest.
This is tough for me. I feel like this just blends together with a lot of the health style bars we've had. Like I couldn't discern this from a lot of the... If you line them all up in a row, I feel like I've had this bar 3 or 4 times on our show already.
I don't think I taste any blueberry. All I'm getting is the dates.
I finally got one way back in.
Oh, it's not mixed in. It's their actual like blueberries in there. Oh yeah, there's one.
It's tough. I mean, the blueberry flavor is there, but it's not overpoweringly blueberry. It's an interesting snack.
I mean, it does make me want to jump a horse off of a cliff.
That's also an X game.
That has become X Games for us for some reason.
That's also That's also called suicide.
I also like the idea of somebody like doing BMX style tricks using one of those old timey bicycles with like the giant front wheel.
There's a guy like wearing an old fashioned bathing suit with a big mustache going hip hip hip, and he's got like a unicycle. He's going off of like moguls and shit and falling over.
I feel like this is like a Vince Vaughn movie that we're brainstorming or something like that, where he has to do some old timey X Games for some reason.
Yeah, let's start a Kickstarter for this.
I'm looking up some X Games. See, because I don't even know what the events are.
No,
You
man,
guys
it's
know-
the most extreme events. How do you not know that? I think there's one where you have to punch a shark and then swim away.
That's an event.
I think
we all know of.
Survive Jurassic Park is another one.
I'm reading the events and I don't know what the hell they are.
Read them off. I'll tell you if I know.
Okay, tell me what Moto X Best Whip is.
That's when you ghost rip the ride or whatever it is, right? What is it?
You ghost ride your Moto X Whip.
You ghost ride, you jump off your horse, you dance a bit, and then jump back on.
Dance around your horse and then whip it until it runs away.
What is women's Moto X Enduro Cross? Like, there's so much things there that make no sense to me.
I think
I mean, some
motocross
are-
is like motorized bikes.
Motorized bikes, spoken like a pure man from the 1920s. It's some sort of motorized bicycle.
What kind of devilish sorcery is this? This man's legs aren't even moving.
But I mean, it's all stuff just like driving on dirt tracks and doing jumps, or like riding your skateboard through like skate park style stuff.
That's what it's all about.
Hanging loose and being a cool bra, dude.
I'd like to see them do X Games now, because like in San Francisco, they're all over the place. It's like instead of skateboards, they have they look like a skateboard, but it's one giant wheel in the middle, and it's like motorized. And then there's also like hoverboards that people are like driving around a lot around here. Have you guys seen these things?
I've seen a lot of the version of it's like a Segway without the handlebar. It's kind of like what you just described, Chad, only it's like a skateboard and then two wheels, one on either end. That they
Yeah,
just.
I think those are the hoverboards you're talking about, right?
Oh, okay.
You were thinking of Marty McFly's hoverboard.
I was thinking of like a board literally that just is like 10 feet off the ground, and people are silver surfing around the town.
It's like a horse flying around.
I was thinking of a Pegasus. Is what I was thinking. My bad, guys.
Honestly, and then listed at the end of the events is MLG Call of Duty and MLG Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Yeah, so I guess the Pringles Loud could be an official food of some of the X Games athletes. Not the athletic.
See, just this X Games athlete who's just like 400 pounds.
Just some fucking neckbeard in his basement, just poning noobs.
And like, now time for the crossover events, where they just send him flying down some like half pipe.
It's like a log roll style event where they're like on his fat body rolling him down a hill and doing jumps.
Also an event from the 1920s X Games, log rolling. Definitely not one they're doing now.
All right, so Chad, what do you think?
Ugh, this thing is also not good. I don't know, it's so dry, and like I don't even like the flavor of this one either. It's just like bland. I barely taste anything. So yeah, this is also gonna get a dislike dat from me. Be a negative today.
I don't find it as dry as some of the other bars. The flavor's okay to me. There's just not much of it. I would eat it, but it would be purely because it's healthy, and that would be it. I don't know if that's a good enough reason to give it more than an indifferent to dat. Geiger, what do you think?
I didn't think the taste was that great. Even though it's made of all natural ingredients, for some reason it tasted like Food Lab flavoring. Like now that I'm sitting here after having eaten the entire thing, the taste is like lingering on my tongue. It's like a bad aftertaste. It's like if you drink like an overly sugary drink and you have that like lingering taste in your mouth. There wasn't that much actual fruit in it. It just had the same consistency as these health bars, which is just like gummy stuff with grainy stuff in the middle. I just that's really articulate of me, but I just stuff on stuff, that kind of thing. But I guess what I'm saying, I would never eat this again. It's not horrible. Like I said, if we had to line up all the health bars that we've had in a row, I probably might take this one toward the upper range, but I'd still give it a dislike dat.
All right. Well, we've got a dead heat with 2 dislikes and indifferent with both of the first 2 snacks. So just like the X Games competition, there will be the first 2 competitors fell and broke their necks heading down the half pipe.
Just like a common X Games trope.
But still the Oreo Handi-Snacks, which is the neckbeard Call of Duty guy of X Games, is still just to compete.
It kind of
But
makes
first
me
we've
nervous that we've got two like pretty bad ratings, and the only thing that's left to save the show is Oreo Handi-Snacks.
I just know we're gonna make this fucking Handi-Snack thing win. I'm a little afraid of it. We can't. Anyway, first we've got the mailbag. So, Chad.
Today's letter comes to us from, and it was an actual letter. Yes, that's right. We got a letter in the mail. No, I'm just kidding. It was a text message. Today's letter comes to us from Chrissy in San Diego, and she wants to know what our favorite snacks were that we ate as a kid, which have since been discontinued. So stuff that we sort of like wish that they would bring back. Thank you for your question, Chrissy. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, like you want to start us off?
Sure, I have a few actually. I've been thinking about this.
Yeah, I made a list too.
Pulling up my list here, so just settle on in. I have 3. One is a pretzel snack that used to be out long ago called Mr. Salty. And Mr. Salty was a very thin pretzel stick, completely loaded with salt. And they had a little character on there with the sailor hat, and I absolutely love those.
Before you move on, just real quick. What do you think is the first autocomplete result for when you type Mr. Salty into Google?
Oh my gosh. Mr. Salty Human Flesh.
It's Mr. Salty Vape Juice.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mr. Salty went from a pretzel company to a vape juice company.
Second one is a gum called Bub's Daddy that I ate a lot as a kid. Generally after baseball games, we'd go get a Bub's Daddy, and it was a long, thin rope of gum that looked kind of like about the size of a Twizzler.
Sounds gross.
And it was a lot of gum for one package. I ended up looking that up later, and it was, I guess, distributed by Donruss, who made the baseball cards. So I guess maybe it wasn't a national type of thing. The last of which was Circus Magic, last of my 3. And that was a cereal that I used to eat as a kid that was completely loaded with marshmallows. I feel like it was probably 75% marshmallows.
Sounds great.
So we for sure shouldn't have been eating it, and that's probably why it's not on the market anymore. But that's something that I used to love when I was younger. Okay, Geiger, got anything?
Yeah, I got a couple. They're both cookies, but there was one that was called, I love chocolate. And so I don't even remember the name, but it was like a chocolate cookie, kind of like a thick chocolate cookie that had chocolate chips in it. The bottom was covered in chocolate, and then there was chocolate stripes like vertically across the entire cookie. And it was really super chocolatey, and they're very good, and they're kind of like dense.
Had chocolate chips covered in chocolate with chocolate stripes. It was very chocolatey.
The package was made entirely out of chocolate. Rip it open, eat the top. No, and then there was another one called Magic Middles. So there were these doughy like chocolate chip cookies that weren't real big, but they were kind of like puffy pockets. And then inside is essentially just like frosting. So it was like
Those
chocolate.
look good. I just Googled that. That looks tasty.
They are delicious, and they don't have them anymore. Probably because it's literally just like it's really just a circle full of cake frosting. So they're probably horrible for you. But I loved them. I used to eat like half, and then just eat it like a regular cookie, and then like lick out the frosting from the other half until it was like an empty vessel, and then eat the cookie. They were really good.
Apparently, there's a Magic Middle peanut butter cookie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I would have also eaten that.
It's on Amazon, but it says currently unavailable.
Ooh, man, see? They had like funny commercials. They had everything. They were the perfect cookie.
Chad, what do you got?
The first one that popped into my mind is Kudos bars. Did you guys ever eat Kudos?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No.
That was like my favorite granola bar. And I was actually doing some research, and I guess they got reintroduced last year, but I haven't seen them on the shelves. I used to love the peanut butter and chocolate Kudos. That was fantastic. A couple other ones that came to mind. There was a cereal that I kind of liked. Unsurprisingly, it was like an Oreos cereal called Oreo O's.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oreo O's.
Yeah, it's basically like Cheerios that were like Oreo flavored or whatever.
I'm pretty sure I remember you eating that when we lived together.
And then the third one I thought of is, so I don't really eat fast food too much anymore, so I haven't been to McDonald's in years, but I had heard that McDonald's doesn't do the apple pies anymore. And I remember when I was a kid, I used to love their apple pies.
Those are good. Yeah. Why did they get rid of those? It's dumb.
I'm shocked that they got rid of that.
Maybe I received misinformation.
Let me look up McDonald's apple pie discontinued? Question mark. They stopped selling them in 2003 because they never sold great, and customers tended to think they were too expensive. Of course, you can still get apple pie from McDonald's. Hold on. Here's the difference. Of course, you can still get apple pie from McDonald's, but the original versions were fried, not baked. Switched to the baked pie in 1992. But then what did they stop selling in 2003? The internet sucks. This makes no sense. We'll get back to you on this, guys. The great apple pie debate.
Anyway.
Well, we would like to hear what snacks you miss, so please send us email or message in some way, and we definitely like to hear from the fans. We started to hear from a few more recently. We really enjoy it. If you have some good thoughts, we will certainly bring them up on the podcast. So, Geiger, why don't you let people know where they can send those thoughts to?
Yeah, and it should be noted, we like having fans, period. It's really nice that you guys listen, so appreciate everyone who's listening, all three of you. Please don't all get in this, don't have group listening parties. That'll really ruin our downloads, but you can visit us on Facebook at the group You Tried Dat. We're on Twitter, # You Tried Dat. Instagram, You Tried Dat. YouTube, You Tried Dat. And we appreciate your feedback as always.
All right, we've got Oreo Handi-Snacks. I'm really not looking forward to this.
No, all that needs to be said.
Okay, now I picked these out because we had done Handi-Snacks way back in our first episode. And of course, we did the Oreo tournament, and the Handi-Snacks made us sick, the Oreos made us sick, so I figured these Oreo Handi-Snacks will definitely not make us sick. You might be wondering, well, why are these extreme? Because they expired 2 months ago. So there you go.
Did they really? I was already not looking forward to these. You told me they're 2 months expired.
These things are 98% plastic. I don't think it matters.
Oh, this cream. So,
oh yeah.
So just to describe it, there's about 6 little Oreo sticks instead of the Handi-Snacks crackers, and then a tub with like Oreo-style cream. But it's a lot more liquidy and viscous than the actual cream inside an Oreo.
It's like Nabisco elf cum or something.
It is definitely elf cum. Yes.
I'm trying the cookie by itself first.
I'm going to try the cookie plain first, like Novak, so I can see if it tastes like an Oreo cookie.
I did it so that I can avoid eating the cream. Oh God! I tipped it sideways, and a bunch of liquid came out of the cream.
Oh yeah, there is a little like goo that settles on top.
Tilt yours sideways and see if some liquid comes out the side.
Cream didn't move though, which is disconcerting as well.
Oh! Putting them back like a pro.
Wait, are you eating just the cookie though?
No, I'm eating the cream. These things are pretty good.
Cream is gross. Pretty good. It's got this disgusting sweet. It's like toothpaste.
It's like toothpaste.
Yeah. Brush your teeth with this for like a month and see how well that does against your cavities.
I didn't say it was toothpaste. Oh, there's like a weird, maybe it's just because it's expired, but there's a weird off-putting taste to the cream.
It is not at all like eating an Oreo cookie. Like the cream is not like the cream of an Oreo cookie.
No.
In the least bit. The cookies taste like the Oreo cookie part.
Yeah.
It's the cream that's the problem. And oh my God.
Oh, Chad.
I ate the
Chad
whole
looks
thing.
like he just licked the bottom of the container.
Okay. Oreo will still love you if you don't like this. It's all right.
Chad's gonna carry this thing to a fucking victory.
Daddy wants his Oreos.
These are fucking gross.
They're not that bad. Come on. I mean, they're not good.
This cream, again, the cookie tastes fine. I'm with Novak. If you just gave me a bunch of these cookies, they're fine.
They're not as good as a regular Oreo, though.
No.
They taste worse than a regular Oreo for some reason.
But they're fine. This cream just
cream.
tastes so weird.
It's, I mean, same with the Handi-Snack. You could eat that cracker, because it's a cracker, but it's a cheese. All right. I mean, who was this Oreo and Handi-Snack? Does Nabisco make both Oreos and Handi-Snacks?
They must, right? They probably own Ritz.
Well, didn't the last Handi-Snack?
There's only like 4 companies in this country anymore, so.
Now who sounds old? I thought the Handi-Snacks were Kraft when we had them. Was I wrong about that?
Oh, yeah. I think it was like a Kraft bought them out.
Yeah, but maybe Nabisco owns Kraft. Who knows?
I do not like these.
Sam, I am.
The cookie is fine. The cream is terrible. When I look at the other snacks today, I would sooner eat the Larabar.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I would probably maybe eat this over those chips. It would be close. They're in the same ballpark with the Julius Pringle. So I'm going to give them a very solid dislike that.
How much of it did you eat?
I ate 1.5, or so the equivalent of 3 cookies sticks, and probably about a quarter of the cream. So not too much. Geiger, you feel like we'll be aligned with me a little here. So what do you think?
I actually had more of the Julius Pringle snack to wash the terrible taste of the Reginald Oreos out of my mouth. These were terrible. The cookies are fine. I ate all the cookies. The cookies by themselves are just fine cookies. And they're not that big. It's not like you're eating a ton of cookies. The cream is so off-putting. It's like a weird consistency. It's like gluey, the consistency of like hardened-ish toothpaste. It just tastes like cloyingly sweet, but at the same time, this weird, I have zero idea how to say it. It's just a weird, off-putting aftertaste. That cream destroys this snack. I strongly dislike that. I won't say I hate it because I ate all the cookies and the cookies are fine, but I strongly dislike that.
We should have both said hate, just so Chad couldn't carry this son of a bitch to a victory.
Drag it across the finish line, Chad.
All right, so go ahead.
All right, so just to recap for those who were not keeping score at home, everything today got 2 dislikes and an indifferent leading up here. Now you guys have given it 2 dislikes, so it's up to me to decide. And now I have a quick confession to make. So when I bought these Oreo Handi-Snacks, it was actually a 12-pack.
Oh,
no.
no.
Oh, no.
I mailed 1 to each of you guys and then set 1 aside, and I've eaten the other 9.
And what time period was that?
So I bought these back in like early April, and then I ate them over the course of like a month.
They taste different, non-expired? I'm serious about that.
No, they tasted exactly the same.
Oh.
But I was like, well, I bought them, so I better eat them.
The fuck's wrong with you?
A lot. I have issues. Here's the thing. These things are not very good. The cream is...
I ate 10 of them, just to be sure.
Yeah, on my 10th one, I realized the cream is actually pretty nasty. But the cookie is pretty good, although it's not as good as a regular Oreo cookie. So there's a piece of me that likes this because it reminds me of the Oreo flavor, but then there's a piece of me that dislikes this because it's like such a poor imitation of the amazing Oreo cookie. So those 2 pieces cancel each other out, and I'm actually going to give this an indifferent 10, which means we have a 3-way tie.
That's never happened, I don't think.
No, we ate all of the snacks this week.
That is shocking, mostly due to how you had finished and licked the bottom of the cup.
Yeah.
I didn't lick the cup. I did not lick the cup.
You did the old Geiger that I get in trouble for all the time of like, oh, yeah, no, it wasn't very good. I ate the entire thing and licked out all the cream.
Are you making fun of Chad or yourself?
No, I'm just saying. You guys always say like, oh, it wasn't very good, terrible, and then I was just waiting for the loved it. I'm amazed that you gave it an indifferent. Wait, so if you really don't think it's that good, why'd you eat 11 of them? I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm asking.
I just didn't have any like sweets in the house at the time.
Yeah, about that. All right, so this is a little unprecedented. So this means nothing, this little thing we're going to do here. But everyone, think of the one you'd most want to eat out of the 3 of them. Wait, Geiger, did you give any indifference?
We all gave an indifferent. I gave an
Yeah, we all gave an indifferent to different things.
Because
we're all going to pick the one we gave an indifferent to.
This is as dead a tie as you could possibly get, actually.
Should we do this? Should we? Oh, crap, I ate all the cookies. I'm going to say...
in your mouth at one time?
No, we could have... we could... If we had some left over, if I wasn't such a pig, I could have had like my wife try some of it. We could have our wives decide.
No, I think we should just say that we feel about these snacks the same way we feel about the X Games, which is meh.
I actually think we should. Each one, we're going to compete in some X Games event. We each represent the ones we gave an indifferent to. So
I'm going to do Call of Duty, log rolling, and what's the last one? Railroad construction. What's the other one?
Railroad construction. The best X Games event, making railroad.
We should take over the X Games.
Painting a chicken coop.
Surviving the Depression was an X Game. The Great Potato Blight of 1851.
So before we go, we're each gonna name our favorite X game.
Okay.
We're talking about summer X Games because we will talk about the winter X Games when that comes out.
In fact,
If you had to watch this summer,
we're actually only going to do podcasts on X Games from now on, guys. We'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah, for me, it's old-timey bicycle stunts.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. I don't fucking know any X Games.
Look, either there's a guy on it's either a motorcycle, a bike, or a skateboard. That's it.
Just say taking a ball bat to a horse's kneecap and be done with it.
I like the
An
men's
old-timey thing. That's
an old-timey event like herding a horse. I'll take the men's X Moto 3 times cross horse murder. No,
I definitely prefer to see a horse murdered by throwing it down a half pipe.
I'm picturing this just getting pushed and just slumping over and sliding down a half pipe.
Now I'm picturing some neckbeard guy controlling all his Call of Duty into a horse stable and just mowing down a bunch of horses.
Controlling his Call of Duty?
Don't you think Call of Duty is the event you stand the best chance of winning at?
No way! Those guys are really good at it.
Understand they're good. But the idea that you could become a decent Call of Duty player and compete with these guys is way more reasonable than watching you go down a half pipe.
I like how Chad seems to think that the athletes who train their whole lives for these other events aren't any good at it.
No, they are, but like...
Can you even ride a bike?
Have you ever played Call of Duty online? Like, the average 15-year-old is just so much better than me.
I can't skateboard at all. I can't rollerblade at all. I can ride a bike on a straight-ass street. I can't play Call of Duty. I'd be at a loss for most of these. Even, like, I think I'd be pretty bad at herding horses when it comes down to it. So I don't even know if I could have bad.
You don't have the heart.
You know what I would be good at? What old-time event I'd be good at? Measuring horses' ball sacks distance from the ground. I can use a ruler. I think that's what I'm for.
That old event.
That old chestnut.
Let's end it on that. So that's it for this year's 2018 X Games You Tried Dat. And we'll catch you next time when we'll be trying 3 new snacks.
Deuces, brah.
Yep, bruh.